So I got to check out Ron Howard's latest film, Eden. This stars Jude Law, Ana de Armas, Vaneesa Kirby, Daniel Bruhl, and Sydney Sweeney. Like I mentioned, the film is directed by legendary filmmaker Ron Howard, where the film had its major premiere at the 2024 Toronto International Film Festival. Based on a factual account of a group of outsiders who settle on a remote island only to discover their greatest threat isn't the brutal climate or the deadly wildlife, but each other. Eden is a movie about survival of the fittest. This survival drama and thriller is set in 1929, following World War I, and happens to be based on a true story. Eden sounded pretty promising, knowing it was based on a true story, Ron Howard was directing, and the stellar cast. Personally, I believe this is Ron's weakest film I've seen in his filmography. Since directing Rush, I believe Ron has been on this roller coaster of a ride, directing hit and misses. He goes up and then he goes down. But it's hard to top Rush. I love that movie. But there's so much that went wrong with Eden. However, it's not the worst movie I've seen this year, but it's definitely one of the most disappointing films I've seen. Let's start with the cast. Like I mentioned, stellar cast, A-list cast. I felt none of the actors had chemistry. None of the performances wowed me or blew me away. I thought everybody here was pretty bland. Regardless of what you think of Sydney, I think she's a fine actress. However, I was not a fan of her accent in this film. And I thought it was going to be interesting to see how all these characters were going to coexist in this environment. But it's clear to see things don't work out and people end up backstabbing each other. Seeing how all these events played out are pretty boring. Eden has a very gray color palette, but I wish this movie had a little more style. Now, once the credits rolled, I was very curious to see who composed the score because I wasn't really a fan of the music. To me, it sounded very generic and didn't leave that emotional impact I was looking for in the story. And to my surprise, the movie was composed by Hans Zimmer. Hans and Ron have previously collaborated on other projects. I felt they really missed the mark on this one because it does not leave that emotional or intense impact I was looking for. Am I being slightly harsh? Yes, but knowing this is Hans, I know he can do better. Now, originally this movie was titled Origin of Species. I think Eden is a better title. Calling the movie Eden sounds more meaningful. Now, as I come to my concluding thoughts, I think Ron Howard was the wrong director to tell the story. Ron has directed so many movies that are based on true stories, but I feel like he's losing the magic of what makes him a great director. Going back to the cast for a second, this movie was originally supposed to star Daisy Edgar-Jones and Alicia Vikander. Clearly, they are not in it. Also, I mentioned in previous videos how it's a Pedro Pascal summer, but it's also a Vaneesa Kirby summer. She was in Fantastic Four, First Steps, she was just in the Netflix film Night Always Comes, and now she's in Eden. But let's wrap this review up and give this movie a grade. I'm gonna give Eden this grade right here.